Hello, good evening and welcome to One Life Left. We're a radio show about video games and this is Resonance 104.4 FM. I'm Steve Curran.
Hello to you, I am Simon Byron.
And I'm Anne Scantlebury.
Simon, it feels like you are trying to develop an introduction that people will know you for, you know.
Does it? It's the first time I've done that.
No, I know, you're kind of trialling things out, right? You know, that's...
Yeah, I mean, did that go okay? Do you know who I am?
Simon...
Do. It feels like something you can make your own.
Okay, what should I do next week?
Howdy.
Okay.
Maybe do a Mexican
How are
wave.
you guys?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Did you have a good week, Anne?
Oh, do you know? Yes.
What?
I'm sure we will talk about this more later, but I had a great week of networking.
Good news. It's been... So if we count last Monday as day 1 and this is day 8...
Yeah.
50% of my time has been One Life Left. 50% of my evenings. Yeah, we've done 4 things. 2 shows.
Yeah.
1 karaoke and 1 networking.
Yeah. Networking is valuable though, Simon.
Sweet.
Listeners, we've got a new joke. And we'll be telling you all about that later in the show.
How are you, Steve?
I'm pretty good as well. Good week of networking.
Yeah, we did some right networking.
We really did network all over the shop. I've had a productive week. I did have a great time at the Pocket Gamer Conference as well.
So did I. I've got some business cards from networking.
Really?
Genuinely.
What about the man who invited us to China?
Yeah, I found it.
Did you? Brilliant.
Fantastic.
We're going to China.
All right. These are all little sort of call forwards.
Here he is.
For later
Simon
in the show.
Zhu, Business Development Director, brackets Asia.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
He says, he came up to me and asked, how do I get this in China? And I said, we will bring it over.
Sounds like that evening went really well. I guess we'll find out, won't we?
We will do.
What have you been up to, Simon? Rest of the week, apart from One Life Lefty stuff.
Your four other days. It's hard to know, isn't it?
It is hard to know. It escapes me. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm sure it's been good. It will come back to me shortly.
Who else have we got in the studio, Steve? Is it just us? Are we just networking amongst ourselves tonight?
I think it's basically just us. No, it's not. We've got a super special guest. Super special guest, say hello and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Catharina Due Bøhler, and I'm a Norwegian game developer.
Where are you from?
I'm from Hamar in Norway.
Welcome.
Thanks
for coming over.
Very first guest from Hamar.
Right.
Ever.
You've been a guest in Hamar, haven't you?
I have. So now we're returning the favour.
Yeah. Is this like a school exchange?
It is. It's slightly warmer here.
Well, yeah, I imagine.
Just slightly.
Just slightly. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting show. I think we've got a new feature as well. This is episode 1, you know. Episode 1 of a new season.
Series.
Happy new season. It only seems like last week.
What season are we on now?
Season 11.
Whoa!
Legs 11.
We are grown-ups now.
Good news. Well, we'd best crack on with it then.
Wait.
No, wait, no.
Oh, yeah.
What does that mean, Anne?
I think I just meant that we're big boys and girls now. We get
11. Is that's your line, is it?
No. We get to go to secondary school.
Okay,
UK age.
Fair enough. All right, you ready for the news?
Yeah, do it.
Let's get on with it.
It's 7:04 on Monday the 19th of January. I'm Anne Scantlebury and this is the news. An 18-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the DDoS attacks on Sony and Microsoft over Christmas. He's the second man to be arrested in the UK with links to the Lizard Squad, who hit Xbox Live and the PlayStation Network, preventing excited children from using their new consoles on Christmas morning. The charges, which were part of a joint investigation between the UK Cybercrimes Unit and the FBI in the US, were for unauthorised access to computer material and swatting. We weren't around to make these jokes over Christmas, but PlayStation unnetworked and Xbox dead more like.
Good. Have you been writing these down? Saving them up, ready for...
I was workshopping them over Christmas.
Excellent.
What does DDoS stand for?
something about
Come on.
distribution.
Yeah, well,
denial.
distributed
Denial of service.
Boom.
Well
Spot
done.
on.
Thank you.
What does that actually mean?
Just sort of messed with it a bit. Swear.
So Lizard Squad have been
Nope.
charged with a dude from Lizard Squad, or allegedly in Lizard Squad, has been charged with messing with it a
Yeah.
bit.
What's your PlayStation Network password?
Oh, I
Out of
don't know.
interest.
I don't know.
No?
Because it automatically logs you in. You know when sometimes things log you out and you just go, dunno, what is that password? Dunno. Haven't put it in for ages.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not sure.
Well,
What's yours?
I also don't remember. I think we had to change it. They made us change it, didn't they? After we got
What?
hacked up.
No, wait. I have not changed mine yet.
No, this is when the PlayStation Network got hacked a couple of years ago. We all got a free copy of Wipeout for it.
Did we?
It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was really excellent. We got an extra 3 days of PlayStation.
Have you told them about your 5 days?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Still feel like we're getting away with that bit.
Lizard Squad themselves got hacked this week, didn't they?
Who hacks the hackers?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really understand all of this sort of stuff, but yeah, no, apparently so.
That's rubbish. Well, I don't understand why they did it.
Just for the lols.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Like, with a lot of these people, it's them saying, like, oh, we're just trying to show up flaws in the security. Is it, though? Or are you just being...
in this instance, it's all about the lols.
Yeah.
Like
And we all got 5 days free PlayStation Plus.
Yes,
Thanks,
yes.
Lizard Squad.
Thanks,
Who's
Squad.
lolling now?
The Australian Classification Board has refused to give Hotline Miami 2 Wrong Number a classification because of a scene depicting rape. Publisher Devolver has responded by saying that the board's description of the scene is inaccurate and that players can choose to skip any scenes with implications of sexual violence at the beginning of the game. A designer told one fan to pirate the game after release if it can't be bought. There are currently no plans to change the ruling.
Pretty serious news this week, Anne. What's going on?
Sorry, it's all...
I'm just trying to think of jokes we can make, but apparently we can't. We shouldn't make jokes about that sort of stuff.
Probably not. It's quite interesting though because the scene. So they say that it was taken out of context. It's not a scene that the character is doing as part of the plot of the whole thing. It's as part of a film that is being filmed. So it's a rape scene within a film that is being filmed in the game. And so it was included at the end of the one of the original trailers, I think, or the demo that they released very early on. And their apology for that was, sorry if that made anyone feel a bit bad. Sorry if anything like that has happened to someone and it sort of triggered anything. Sort of not really what we meant to do, but yeah, we'll take that out.
Well, I think they said they'd look at taking it out. They'd look into, how they were going to treat it in the final game, and it turns out looking into it means, they've decided against removing it, and they've put together a series of arguments about why this is. And they're the same sort of things we've heard, hundreds of times before, which are nothing in the face of someone saying, this is triggering and this is enormously upsetting, and you can make a grand intellectual argument, it's grand, but it's still basically a very, very harrowing thing to put in a game.
Yeah.
And is Hotline Miami the sort of game that should be treating this subject?
Well,
is it?
I think that for me the issue is putting it in a trailer without any clear warning is letting that into people who may be triggered by that, letting it into their lives without warning or anything. Obviously, their treatment of that in the game has been that you can choose at the very beginning to remove any or all of those scenes that would trigger that for you, which seems like a pretty a good way of dealing with that. Whether they should include it anyway is...
I love Hotline Miami. I think it's a phenomenal game, and it's also, it's clearly an edgy game in some respects. It pushes at the limits of things that were acceptable and kind of pokes fun, asks questions about, well, you're killing in all other games. How far are you expect to go? I remember years ago being basically morally disgusted at one of the early, I think it was an EA war game. What would that have been? Not Call of Duty, but
Medal of Honor,
where we were talking to the developers, early 2000s, and they're saying, we didn't want to include blood in the game because, and they've got this beautiful realistic D-Day landing thing, but there's no blood because we wanted the impact without the blood, and that seemed gross to me. Hotline Miami goes the other way and, puts blood everywhere, makes it arcadey, and says, well, you're happy with this in other games. Why isn't it okay here? This, to me, makes me uneasy. Completely uneasy. Do you remember the time we met the guy who made Hotline Miami? But we still don't know whether we did. It was at a party. It was at a Nordic game party, I think. Yeah. And someone came up to us and said, see this dude, he made Hotline Miami. But we had no way of telling whether he was telling the truth.
Imagine if you had a little... if the rules of play at conferences were, maybe you could keep wearing your lanyard outside of the conference. Wear it to all parties as well, and then at least we'll be able to verify who you are.
We need to be better at networking.
Microsoft has clarified its rules on how streamers can use Xbox game content on YouTube and Twitch. Its game content usage rules were updated to allow fans in partner programs to legit earn revenue for advertisements. The company also explained that you can totally use a game title in your video, just try not to make it look like it's an official Microsoft thing, because it isn't. Major Nelson, who isn't really a major, explained in his blog that the update was to bring the policy in line with current community usage. But, he isn't a real major, so we don't know if we'd trust him at all.
Is that the first time you've clarified that Major Nelson isn't a real major?
Feel like I might have done it a while ago, but this is a new season, Steve. We've got to lay down the rules.
Okay. I think you should have... there should have been some warning with that. I mean, what about people that had grown up thinking that he was an actual major, and they just have the reality chucked at them like that?
I'll be honest. Let's lay this down now. We're going to speak the truth on this show. We're not going to shy away from any of the facts.
Right. Well, that's good news then, isn't it? I guess. Yeah. Are you going to be doing that then? Putting your Microsoft games on YouTube?
Yeah, loads. Loads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is your streaming career going?
Not great at the minute. We've sort of eased off, haven't we, Steve?
We haven't done anything.
And also we're Sony, so that's...
We need to get on with it. I could be Corporal Curran. You could be Sergeant Simon.
Yep.
What could I be?
They don't have girls in the army.
Nintendo will launch the new 3DS and 3DS XL on the 13th of February in Europe, answering the question, what do I get my loved one for Valentine's Day? Both versions have a new C button for dual analog control, improved 3D, and built-in NFC compatibility to communicate with amiibos. NFC stands for Now for Cake. They'll have a bit of a power upgrade, which will give smoother gameplay and faster system load times. The first exclusive game to the console will be a port of Wii game Xenoblade Chronicles. Remember, folks, nothing says I love you like hardware in XL.
I don't know how they do it, Nintendo. I don't, because all week I don't need a 3DS. I had to find it in order to lend it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I spent some time looking for it because I haven't played it for a while. So I don't need one, clearly. Okay. As far as I can see, though, if I did need one, I already have one. I do have one. I do have one. I don't like Monster Hunter. Right, I've tried to get into it several times, but it's not for me.
No.
I've come very close this week to pre-ordering a Monster Hunter new 3DS several times. No, is this going to be the one for me?
Does it say something about Nintendo or something about you?
You can climb at different levels now in this Monster Hunter. Was that the thing that was holding me back? The fact that it was all on, like there was no variation in my Y-axis?
You do love a bit of variation in your Y-axis,
I've got Majora's Mask, which also is a game I do not like. Got that pre-ordered. I don't know what it is. I don't know how they do this to me, Steve. How do they do this to me?
Well, I do think they are targeting this at you, knowing your early adopter disease.
It's got a new knob. A new knob on it. And now no one told me this. The new 3DS screen size is bigger than the old 3DS screen size, but not quite as big as the new 3DS XL screen size, which remains the same as the old 3DS XL screen size.
So screen size wise, it goes...
It's got head tracking.
Old 3DS.
It tracks your head now, Anne.
New 3DS.
So you might not get some blurry...
3DS XL.
You might, it's going to be slightly less blurry now because it's tracking your eyes.
How does it track your eyes?
Using magic.
Wait, so everyone's like, oh, Microsoft Kinect is going to look into your room. Nintendo is going to track your eyes.
Yes.
That's creepy.
So you can move around and the stereoscopic effect will follow. Imagine that. I need a new 3DS, don't I? If only I had a way of doing it.
Well, maybe your wife will get you one. And finally, is Rock Band coming back for good? Harmonix just asked fans to fill in an important survey with questions like which titles you owned, how many DLC tracks you bought, should I stay or should I go, whether you still have any Rock Band instruments, are you going to be my girl, how much dust have they collected, and have you accidentally looked back in anger? As predicted on last week's show, expect rhythm action games back in full force very soon.
You going to buy one of these as well? Next Generation Rock Band?
I would have thought so, yeah. I mean, let's not forget who launched the original.
You made it, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Before we were making Bithell, we were making plastic instruments.
Yeah. No, it's exciting. We talked about this last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. That's why I mentioned that we talked about it last week.
Okay. I actually stopped listening then when I was just trying to pre-order a new 3DS on mobile phone. What if they sell out, though?
They're not going to... I mean, they might.
Yeah, so what's good... So they are going to have to do something new then, aren't they, with this?
Well, I guess that's why they're doing the survey. Like, we're probably going to have to do something new. How are we going to know what new thing to do? Ask them. Ask them what they want.
Okay. We know people at Harmonix, don't we?
Another button on the fret.
Imagine that.
7 buttons. I don't know. Extra button on the extra drum pad.
I did play Rock Band last year.
Yeah.
That's the most recent time that I've... Actually,
that was the start of the revival, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Somebody at Harmonix saw that the game was being registered. Yeah. The boss got gently woken up
I was playing
as a red light flashed. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He will get anything started. That doesn't sound...
Good, well, I'm looking forward to this. They'll no doubt use the cameras and stuff, won't they?
Oh, yeah.
This time?
Maybe they'll check your eyes, see if you really mean it when you're singing.
Thanks, Anne.
One Life Left video game news with Anne Scantlebury.
One Life Left on Resonance 104.4 FM. This is Clam and Just Chill. We are long-time fans of Clam, and that will continue throughout Season 11 of One Life Left, your favourite video game radio show. You can hear this and many other pieces of brilliant chiptune music at chipmusic.org.
Anne, you had some good news this week, didn't you?
I did. Yes.
Sorry, that was
I'm
just
not
one
pregnant,
person.
everybody. I am not
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Great news.
Every time that happens, a little round of applause. No, this week was a good week for me and 99 other women in games who were told that they were top.
You're a top woman in games,
I
well
am
done.
top, thank you.
How did you find out?
I went on the internet.
Right, and it told you?
It told me.
And did they list you in any sort of order?
Yeah, they did actually,
Okay.
From top to bottom.
Right, and where did you come?
8th.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Well, you must be, given that you're so it can't be alphabetical because you're a Scantlebury. You'll be right down the bottom.
Yeah, I'd be right down the bottom,
wouldn't you?
wouldn't
But
I?
you're not. You're 8th.
Yeah.
Who's above you and who's below you?
Alice Taylor is above me. There's
We
another
know, friend of the show, Alice Taylor.
Yeah.
Friend.
There's another Anne above me who spells her name without an E. There's an Anne below me who spells her name with an E.
But it's coincidental that all their names begin with A. So
it is
it's not like they've
actually.
ordered it that
Yeah.
way.
Well, that's not how you do alphabetical
No, exactly.
order, is it?
No,
It's
it's
by
not.
surname. Everyone
obviously.
knows that.
Everyone knows
From
that.
primary school, I have learnt that. I was always at the bottom of the register, so, you know.
What does this mean for you now, then?
This means...
What doors have opened?
I'm waiting for the job offers to come flooding in, and let me tell you, I am looking. Is this a good place to...
Do your employers listen? Because we know that you're not joking.
I'm really not joking. If you want to hire me at your studio, please get in touch.
Well, what are your skills?
Well, I have a background in audio. I have 9 years working on a radio show about video games. I have a great deal of experience.
I mean, working.
I turn up every week.
Most weeks.
I turn up basically more times than these two do, and they actually work in the industry. So, yeah. I'm all right.
Okay, you're all right. You're actually better than all right. You're top.
I'm number 8 top.
You're literally top.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So,
and there's going to be an award ceremony.
Yes, there is. Which, thank you to MCV, has been timed to finish before the next Thursday starts. So I'll be rolling up.
Finishing on Wednesday.
It's finishing at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, and so I'll be rolling up to karaoke.
And what Anne has promised is that she will be networking at this event.
Specifically, there are 3 hours dedicated to networking. Half an hour for the awards, 3 hours for networking.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And that's amazing, because we are all going to see the results of your networking at #Thursday, aren't we? Because you're going to bring
of the... it's the
You're going to bring
after party,
100 top women from the industry.
Loading, get ready.
Wow, I mean, yeah. There's a joke about that I'm going to tell you off air.
Or don't.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
then.
Thanks. Yeah, it's going to be great. Top. It's going to be top.
Right, that's enough about you.
Yeah,
You're not the only top woman we've got in the studio
Good
tonight.
one, Steve. Let's throw it over to the guest.
Hello, guests.
Hi.
How are you doing? You've been quiet so far. That's because we've been going on a bit. Sorry about that.
Yeah, and also I'm Norwegian, so...
Is that a quiet thing? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you give us something to drink, then yeah.
I'm not allowed to drink in the studio.
Simon, we should mention Simon's in the studio as well. Hello, Simon. We haven't got you for much longer, have we?
Hello. Yes.
Can you go and get our guests some booze, please?
Sure. Just over money, please.
Okay. And I'll sort that out. Our petty cash. So what brings you to the country? What are you doing over here?
Well, I'm here for work. Originally, you're supposed to just travel here and have a meeting because some partners that we're having that we might do a deal with in China were going here.
Okay, so you've been networking.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then
how did that go?
Well, they had to change their flight, so ended up not
poor networking.
Poor networking, yeah. So then I felt, well, I already bought the ticket, so I might as well go and visit Steve.
So their loss is our gain.
Well,
yes.
We're delighted to have you. So tell us about the games that you make.
Well, we've made one game so far that we spent most of our time on, called Shadow Puppeteer. And it's basically a console game, but it's gotten kind of a soft launch on Steam. So it's a co-op game where you play as a boy and his shadow.
Okay.
So you have two people playing, one playing a shadow, which basically plays the game like a 2D platformer, while the other person plays the boy and plays it kind of like a 3D adventure. So even though you share the same screen and the same world, you're in different dimensions. So the only way you can work together is by using light and shadows. So,
nice.
Yeah, the main focus is to have a co-op game where you're truly dependent on each other.
I've not come across this. How's it going down?
Well, right now we've gotten a lot of good feedback, so we're actually mostly focusing on our Wii U release, which we're hoping will happen before summer this year. Yeah.
Where did the idea come about?
4 years ago, it was a concept made for Dare to Be Digital.
Right.
Yeah, so I was part of a 4-person team we actually just threw it together because we had to make something for the contest, and then we didn't get further than the third finals, I think, because you were supposed to be able to make this in 10 days, and they were kind of like, awesome game is not going to happen in 10 days.
Right.
And 4 years later, we kind of agree with them. So,
do you think that that sort of forced deadline is what is where is useful for coming up with these sort of left field ideas, because Surgeon Simulator famously came out of a game jam. I think I Am Bread did as well, did it? The Bossa guys? I can't remember whether...
I don't know about game jam, but certainly...
But one of their internal ones, where they sort of sit down and do it. And these are the sort of the ideas that if you just sat down with no pressure and stuff, you may not have... You wouldn't have been forced into sort of coming up with something like this.
Yeah, and we were... Because... basically our teacher was kind of pissed because no one from the school was applying anything, and then we just found random people to sit together, so none of us really knew each other. And I think that also helped, because someone threw in something completely random, then we just spun off it. And so I think these things are really, really great to come up with an idea.
Do you think that that's because of the deadline, or also because you're all slightly showing off to each other in that sort of short time span? You're like, okay, I've got to impress that person there, especially since I've never met them before.
Actually not. I think, well, the deadline really helps, because you need to just throw out really silly ideas and try to get your brains working. But I think it's also just kind of not just the deadline, but the fact that we didn't really care. Right. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't something, we had to come up with the best idea. We were just throwing things out there, and suddenly we fell in love with something. So I think having a deadline and not feeling kind of a pressure on performing your best actually helps a lot.
So the secret to this radio show being better is for us to care less.
Right.
Is that possible?
You wouldn't think it's going to be difficult, isn't it? But, I'll put the hours in.
Is it unusual having the pressure taken away from you? So you work so hard over 10 days to get something off the ground, and now you're doing it 4 years later? That must be a really unusual way to work, because we have to get this done. Actually, now we can finish it whenever we want. Does that change the way that you work?
No, we've had deadlines all along, the production. We were supposed to only spend 1.5 years on it. But then we did some really poor choices, like making your own engine. Right. Of course, we all knew that, no, you're not supposed to make your own engine. But then the programmer says, oh, no, but this is something special. We have to do this, and it's not going to be, I swear it's not going to be difficult. And then, 2 years later, we just change over to Unity and have to do things from scratch. So I think that,
lessons learned. Have less ambition, I think, at the start.
Yeah.
How was Steve when he was over visiting you? What were you doing over there, Steve?
This is like parents' evening.
Exactly, yeah.
I was. Was
this the mountain talk?
The first time I went over, I did a talk for a game jam.
Okay.
At the start of the global game jam, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That was a few years ago, and then subsequently I've been to visit to do Killing the Games Industry and the mountain talk. Yes, the mountain talk.
Would you have him back?
Yeah, definitely. He's been impressive every time. Like both he has great things to say, but at the same time, you can mess around with him and feel that it's okay. Right. He can take it. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. I brought the karaoke over last time.
Did you?
We ran the karaoke in the chalet. Did some singing.
Okay.
I actually filmed some of that, but I haven't dared look at it yet.
Really? That makes sense. It's really hard to do on your own. It's actually hard to do with 2 other people, as we'll find out later in the show.
Where can we... you're in early access, did you say, at the moment?
Oh, the game is launched for Steam.
It's full on Steam, but you're coming to Wii U?
Yes, we are.
And this summer?
Yes.
Excellent. We'll look forward to playing that then. I've got a Wii U, actually, so...
Do you still like it?
I love it, yes.
Really?
Is it better than the Wii, which was just put in the bottom of the cupboard?
But see, again, I almost downloaded Super Mario Galaxy 2 this week because that came out. You can play the Wii version on your Wii U. I'm like, this is great. And then I was like, no, you don't. It didn't even like the first one. But you have to buy it within a week.
Well, if you have someone to play with, you definitely should play Shadow Puppeteer.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to playing that in the summer.
Hello, I'm Sega Badawi, and welcome to On Life Left, Local News. 2 rock climbers have managed to climb the sheer face of a mountain at Yosemite Park. The feat was previously thought to be impossible, so it's an incredible achievement. The climbers, Gerp and Quap, said that they had to cope with numerous challenges. Not only did they have to carry their own equipment up with them, but they also endured birds landing in their handholds, which hindered their progress. And sometimes the handholds had letters that were not close to each other on the keyboard, so it was tricky to move. When they reached the top of the mountain, the climbers found a box left by the famed explorer Bennett Foddy, but all they found in the box was a rubber bat. And it's even more of an incredible achievement, as both climbers have an affliction that gives them ragdoll physics, so they sometimes flail around uncontrollably. I take my hat off to these brave people. Thanks, and back to your usual programming.
Messages and forward BCC One Life letters.
Rob Beer writes, Dear Team One Life Left and super special guest, I'm most definitely not scrambling around for a topic to this letter because you were short and requested them via Twitter. I know that's not your style. He's quite right, Rob. We wouldn't stoop so low, and we wouldn't need to stoop so low, would we? Because we have listeners that correspond with us on an hourly basis. He says, in fact, I'm only writing to say what a pleasure it was to have my last letter read out live across the radio waves. Speaking of pleasures, what's your favourite pleasure or sensation that you've experienced from a game? Bayonetta 2 and the Witcher series to be excluded. Mine might be the rush of succeeding in one of those single bullet challenges on a Point Blank 2 arcade machine. I'm sensing Spelunky might get a mention here. Loyal listener Rob Beer. Best sensation.
You know, that was the first time I've thought of Point Blank, those challenges, those single bullet challenges. Do you remember those where the feather would be wafting down? That was brilliant.
It was brilliant. There was a PlayStation version, wasn't there? You could play with the joypad.
That's right, yeah. Or the light gun.
Or the light, but you could also, but not many people had those. It was a strange thing.
So I think it would come down to F-Zero GX for me. The thrill of winning a championship by a point in a race that you win by a fraction of a second, 1,000th of a second, and still feel that you were entitled to win that race, just as you would have been entitled to lose had it gone the other way. That felt so balanced, so clever. Oh, actually, sorry, I want to change my answer. Nagoshi reminds me. Nagoshi, designer of F-Zero GX, also designer of Super Monkey Ball. That game and beating the second set of levels.
Right.
I think it was the second set of levels on a single credit and doing it on my last life. That was a rush like no other.
Difficult to top those two.
Wow, yeah.
Catharina, what's your favourite sensation whilst playing video games?
Well, I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, so even though it might not seem as good as that, I think definitely getting one of the limit breaks in Final Fantasy VII and hitting all the combinations right for Tifa, it's probably one of the best sensations I've had.
Wow.
Mine was singing and playing Supermassive Black Hole vocals and on the guitar on my own in the Scala Club in King's Cross on my own on the stage. I was just sound checking.
On your own?
I genuinely thought things don't get better than this, and
they haven't.
I put the guitar down on the floor. I finished it on my knees, playing it and singing. No, it was not Supermassive Black Hole, sorry. Plug-in Baby.
Obviously.
Finished the falsetto and put the guitar down, and at that moment I decided to leave my job. Genuinely, because my job was to promote that game at the time, and I honestly thought it could not get any better than that.
Wow. Mine was beating Stee at... this was before we ever started the show. What was that Street Fighter but with babies? Pocket Fire! Pocket Fighter. By literally just mashing buttons, and I thought it was the greatest thing that ever happened in my life.
Pocket Fighter is a brilliant game. Does that exist on any modern format?
Is Pocket Fighter the puzzle game?
No. Pocket Fighter's the one with tiny versions of the Street Fighter characters, and it's so fun.
There's a Tetris version that has the tiny Street Fighters, but it's not right. Okay, no, we're not thinking of that. No, okay.
No. Someone make Pocket Fighter. Ideally, Capcom.
That's where you get in trouble. Yeah.
Actually, I think I have to change my answer too. My totally best experience ever was beating the living bejesus out of my teacher in Dead or Alive 2 because he was all snooty and kicking everyone's asses. But then one of the characters had fighting side of Muay Thai, and since I've trained Muay Thai, I knew exactly what to do, and even though I never played the game before, I made him look like a fool, and
it was
that was
simulation
really nice. Yeah,
very good.
Making people
That
look
felt
like
good.
fools.
Scans.
Dear Team and SSG, I wrote in before Christmas saying I was thinking about getting a PS4 to get back into gaming after a 2-year hiatus, which on your advice I then went and did. I'm loving The Last of Us and looking forward to playing GTA 5. However, I'm annoyed the pause resume feature has not been implemented yet after it was promised in the initial PS4 announcement in 2013. Given it takes about 90 seconds to get into a game and start playing, what do you think I should do with that time? It adds up to around 15 hours over the course of a year. Maybe I should charge my time to Sony for not delivering on their promises. Love the show, Lawrence Weir.
What was this feature then? You could just stop, turn it off, and then come back onto it. Was that?
I guess it must be suspend and resume as you get on laptops or whatever else. Yeah, I use that time to write pithy tweets. So more fool you developers if you give me long loading times. Hey, did you see that Namco patents run out this year? The minigame patent.
Oh, has it?
That stops, that stops you making minigames for loading periods in games. Namco have had that for years, and apparently it runs out. I think it either ran out at the end of last.
What are we going to do about it? Let's buy it.
Well, I don't think that's how patent works.
Okay.
Patents work.
I know exactly what you should do with the time. Because at work, when I have to render something, I just started doing push-ups.
Oh.
So just do push-ups every time.
Why is she looking at me when she said, I know what you should do this? Fewer pithy tweets.
Yes, more push-ups.
More reps.
Catharina, do you have a letter?
I do. Hello, Season 11 cast of One Life Left, and your super special guest.
That's you.
Yeah. I hope that even though it's a new season, we can still be friends. It seems that lots of the games I'm excited for are rebuilds of old games. I've just bought a Humble Bundle for the sake of Speedball 2 and Chaos Engine, and I'm drooling over Grim Fandango. What old game would you like to see brought back for this generation? What would you fix en route? Jolly good, Robert.
Exile, always Exile. Still not been a good, decent, sort of inspired by version of the BBC Micro and Atari ST's Exile since that game existed, which was 1989, I think. Someone needs to make it. Side-on, arcade adventure, physics-based puzzles with multiple solutions. Done.
Yeah, no, I was just yeah. No, I was thinking about, I bought that Humble Bundle as well. I've obviously yet to play those games.
Obviously.
Yeah. See, you've got a letter.
Dear team and super special guest, I'm a big fan of the Monster Hunter franchise, John Maynard writes. I bought the last game 3 times on 2 platforms, got the special edition 3DS and bought this complete set of t-shirts. So I'm feeling snubbed that when Nintendo Capcom last week sent out invitation codes for the Monster Hunter 4 demo to random people, I didn't get any.
It's got t-shirts.
And this on the back of not getting an invitation to burn my money on a new 3DS. To burn my money on as a new 3DS ambassador. Right, I understand that sentence now. Sorry. So, of course, I've taken the only course of action I have available to me, that of ranting on Twitter.
Yes.
Know how you mean,
yes.
John. Also ranting on the Eurogamer forum, of course.
Fair.
And now, hopefully, on an award-winning FM radio station. Then we'll see who has the last laugh, won't we, Capcom? Love the show? John Maynard, please consider the environment before printing this email.
Uh-oh.
Did you consider it, Simon?
I did, yes.
What did you...
Well, but then how else are we going to read them out?
Telepathy.
Bruno Vincent writes, Dear team and super lovely special guest, as a big fan and long-time listener, I've long had a deep desire to have a letter read out on your show. Luckily, I had this ambition realised last April, but you did just send out a request for letters, so here is one. Did we?
Not
I
us.
remember doing that.
Not
It
us.
must have been
Maybe it
Daft
was...
Souls or something.
Yeah.
Toodle Pip. Bruno Vincent, he says, P.S. I do actually have a question. Like many of your listeners, I bought and played Far Cry 4, but found it a deep disappointment as it has a thoroughly stupid campaign and lacks the stunning scenery of the previous games, only hinting at truly beautiful backdrops in cutscenes and pre-release trailers. I'm bewildered to find it showered with awards. Have you ever strongly disliked a game only to remain baffled and annoyed to see it lavished with universal praise? Brackets extra point to Simon if he can answer that without mentioning Journey. I don't get the point because I read the letter. I would say Journey.
Last of Us.
Really?
Really?
like universal praise and very few people calling it out for what it is, which is a game that we have all played before. Uncharted's, decent third-person combat, bookended by cutscenes which, for my money, which was $39.99 or whatever it was, for my money, were essentially a B movie. And it's okay. It's okay, but I would have liked to see more criticism of it, and I felt a bit let down when I played it. Didn't feel like the future.
I'm sorry to hear that.
In fact, it felt like an intimidating project in terms of technical realisation. It didn't feel like the future of video games.
Wow.
Thomas was alone.
What?
Yeah.
Come over here. And you come over here and slag off our Bithel.
Simon, you were in charge of the rules.
Unbelievable. Did you not run through this with her?
Simon.
She's like, if you notice, she said 2 naughty words this show anyway, one of which I don't think we can claim is biology. And then she comes on and insults the Bithel.
Lethal Bizzle.
I think Lethal Bithel is
Lethal
what we're going.
Get out!
Is it?
That is...
Oh my goodness.
Well, I think it's...
Wait,
I think it really
might
does...
be a joke.
It does,
You might be joking.
No, it does a lot of things really well, and it shows how
does really
you
well.
can
Does everything
use
the best.
Yeah.
dialogue and story to
No
really
one's done it
enhance
better.
something.
Yep.
But the gameplay is tedious. It should have been made
I
so
see
you could play
exactly
with
what you've
someone
done
else.
here. First, you've set yourself up by saying, I've been doing push-ups. So we are naturally scared of you when we want to do nothing, but we will fight to the death for the right of Bithel to...
I'm sorry, Simon. I feel like this is on me. I feel like this is my fault. I didn't do a background check.
Exactly.
You should have done better.
What was I thinking?
My goodness. I'm going to move on to another letter
Yes.
because...
Yeah, quickly.
This is... Okay, hi, OLL gang and super special guest. That's super special now. With a good proportion of the nation addicted to the latest celebrity Big Brother bullying extravaganza, it got me thinking, if game characters were plopped into a house together, which do you think would have the most beef? After about 5 minutes of Duke Nukem going on about how you can't say anything these days without offending someone, and what's wrong with looking at some of the best female bottoms in the world, I reckon Lara Croft would backflip out and shoot all of the dogs in L Street, which we all know is how she de-stresses. But maybe that's just me. Lots of love, Ed Fear.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks,
What a
Ed.
lovely letter.
What a lovely
Have you been
letter.
watching CBB, Anne?
Nah.
No? Have you, Steve?
Watch Jordan's entry into the
Did you?
house.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
It was quite cute because she's obviously quite a big Brother fan.
Yeah.
And she was quite adorable. Going, it doesn't matter. It's not video game related. Let's try and be better this season.
Okay.
Let's try and
Really?
be better. Thank you so much for your letters.
Thank you. Please do keep them coming because, if we didn't get any, we would have to resort to asking over Twitter. But thankfully,
We never
we
have to
didn't.
do that.
Keep them coming too.
Team at onelifeleft.com.
You're listening to One Life Left on Resonance 104.4 FM. The last thing I heard before I started speaking was Simon saying to our guests, "You're going to need a bodyguard."
I don't know if that's okay, Simon.
I think that everyone who knows me knows that I don't need one.
Okay, well,
Train in my tie.
There we go
Why is it
again.
not okay? I'm just saying.
Train in my tie, Simon. You need a bodyguard.
That's not for me. Just saying.
This is Nothing Can Be Fixed. God Burn by JMR. Again, it's from chipmusic.org. I think this is absolutely brilliant.
What a name.
So, any other business?
AOB.
AOB. Let's talk hashtag networking, shall we?
What did we do this week, then?
Well, we had our third stay.
That was good. Thank you for coming to that. It's very
Thank you so
chilled.
much.
You weren't there, Annie.
I was unable to attend.
We did. So we flipped on its head. We did. You weren't allowed to sing songs that you'd sung before.
B-sides and rarities.
Yeah,
Good,
excellent.
good.
And then we closed with an hour of hits.
Yeah,
Amazing.
It was good stuff. We will have our next Thursday on the 19th of February. It will also be my birthday party.
And we'll be celebrating 100 women in games.
It will be the official after party.
So be there. But the night before that, we did something else.
We did our first corporate gig, the Pocket Gamers Connect party.
And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking sellouts.
Sellouts.
And we were glad to be sellouts. We were so excited at being asked to play Pocket Gamers closing party.
Here's an illustration of how well the night went. Steve emailed us the following day, subject lessons.
In all caps.
Lessons to be learned. Shall I read them out, the lessons? I mean, that might be the way of telling the story, mightn't it?
Yeah.
The way it opens with a swear word. He says, and then he names an individual, and he says, "Sort of saved that night, didn't it? It was a moment when we stopped giving and then said another word and started yelling, and everything seemed to turn then." Anyway, whenever our next corporate gig is, A, don't go on before people are drunk.
Good.
B, force more of the obviously good songs on people early. He concludes, "I had a nice time despite everything, and I think we learned some things that might help us do it for other people in the future. So worth it, I guess." I said, "We got a new joke, so I'm happy." Hashtag networking.
And that new joke is
Hashtag networking.
And why is that, Simon?
Because we went on, so we turned up and we said, "Right, what time do you want to start?" And they said, "Well, it opens at 7. Do you want to start about 8:30?" And we're like, "Yeah, okay, cool." So we started at 8:30, and a few people did some songs, and then a man came up to us and said, "No, you've got to stop for 15 minutes. It's too loud." And we went, "Yeah, okay, all right, that's fine. We'll stop." Weird though to complain about the, I mean, he didn't complain about the level of the singing or anything like that. He just said it's too loud. We're like,
because the singing was exemplary.
This is your venue and your party, and you hired in the sound system for us. So we started up a little later, and then a man who up until that moment I'd not seen before came up to him, and I didn't think to check at the time whether he was part of the party or not, but he just said, "Yeah, you need to stop at 10." And I'm like, "Okay, why?" And he said, because people have to network. They have to do networking. So at that point, I mean, I deliberately, so you may remember, I deliberately pretended not to hear him properly, and I was like, yeah, sure, we'll stop it now then. And he went, "Oh, no, I didn't mean that." And I'm like, "No, it's fine. If you don't want us, we'll just stop it now." And Steve was right, as addressed in that email. That was when we stopped caring, and we're like, "Yeah, we'll just do the songs that we want to do and stuff like that." But we did big up the networking. So we were like, "Hey guys, are you having a good time?" And everyone was going, "Yeah." We were like, "Who's up for some networking later?" Yeah. And I don't know, it got funny in our own stupid way. When I got home, I woke up the following morning, I'd not seen Kate, and she's like, "Okay, so tell me about last night then." I'm like, "Oh God, I had actually forgotten about it." And then it's like, "Oh yeah, that happened, didn't it?" And then she said, "I've not seen you that sort of belligerent about yeah." I think we did get a little petty.
We did get petty.
To the extent of not emailing the organiser back afterwards. After he thanked us, we're like, "Steve said, you going to email back?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to do it in a few days."
But it was worth it.
It was fun. It was really good fun.
After the sort of
after
the teething troubles, we had a really good time. There were great photos from the night as well.
Really happy that the picture that Pocket Gamer used to illustrate the success of the party was of the karaoke, although we weren't in it.
Yeah.
No, we had. We did learn a lot of lessons. We had an awful lot of fun. Some of the songs were brilliant. It was great seeing a new audience take to it. Although the initial confusion with why we did have to stop was because the guy from Valve went to get some ice cream, which the organizer, who was later on stage, wasn't he dressed in a Union Jack or
dressed as a beefeater?
Was he? As a beefeater? He said, "Yeah, people are leaving." And
he didn't. You just didn't give him chance to finish the sentence to get ice cream.
To get ice cream. That's good. And we're looking forward to a next corporate gig. Who knows when that may be?
Enquiries to
team@onelifeleft.com.
Time for a new feature. I'm really, 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 really excited about this.
The games industry is a diseased chicken laying rotten eggs. We're going to make an omelette and throw egg in someone's face. This is the truth. This is Game Under.
People of the internet, listen up. This is investigative reporter Duncan McKenzie, aka Game Under, aka the Seeker of Truth, but not a seeker like in Dragon Age Inquisition, because they're rubbish and corrupt, and I am not. This week I'm looking at the connection between games journalists and games manufacturers. Did you know that every single professional games journalist makes a living writing about the very same games that are produced by professional games developers, and yet they refuse to treat my Doctor Who /fiction with the same respect? Did you know that the game shops are full of games made by professional games publishers, and yet they refuse to stock my homemade wine? They say it's not a game. The industry is a closed shop, and I think it's time we opened it and then shut it down for being corrupt. When will the madness end?
Until next time on Game Under.
There we go. It's a One Life Left expose. It's Game Under. Reviews. Simon, what have you been playing this week?
I've still been playing GTA 5.
Is this going to be your Spelunky?
Is that the sound of one of the cars?
I stole a submarine at the weekend.
What?
Yep, I know. No, but then when I'm not at home, I've been playing The Swapper on PlayStation Vita, which is available currently as a PlayStation Plus title. I'd bought it on PC before. Lots of people have been raving about it, and it was all right. It didn't sort of grab me immediately at PC when I sat on my PC, but I have to say the ability to take it with you anywhere. It's cross-buy, so PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 3 and 4. The ability to take it anywhere has completely changed the game for me. It's a really clever game. I was going to say what it reminded me of, but it might spoil the movie for you. But you play... you're part of an experiment on an abandoned space station, essentially, and you can clone yourself, and the clone repeats the actions that you do. So it's essentially an exploration puzzle game. Incredible atmosphere and absolutely ingenious puzzles. It's such a smart game in the way that it forces you to experiment in a way that I've not seen puzzle games do. Puzzle games tend to have a rigid set of rules, but the Swapper feels like you get there through your own thoughts rather than solving it as the designer wanted you to, which obviously it is, but the way that it's made, makes you feel so empowered from your finding your own solutions. I'm not sure how far in I am, but like I say, I can see why it was so revered by people that have time to spend in front of their PCs. But now it's out and about with me. I'm absolutely loving it. Thoroughly recommended. 7 out of 10.
Good call.
Fantastic, Simon.
Steve, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Geometry Wars, the new one on PS4. It was half price in the January sale.
Yes!
So I picked it up for that without remembering. I love the idea of Geometry Wars so much, and I love the idea of Robotron so much, and indeed all twin-stick shooters until I actually play them. I find them quite frustrating and quite annoying. Geometry Wars is the best of those. I think the genre isn't really for me. It looks beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Like it's a stunning looking game. In fact, it looks like I always end up wishing Jeff Minter games looked like. If someone could just make a version of Tempest that looked like Geometry Wars, I could be happy forever. But I guess that's the problem. I always really want to be playing Tempest when I'm playing Geometry Wars, and I'm not. I'm playing Geometry Wars. It's basically, I find there's too much going on. I find it frustrating. I tend to die at the same point every time, or through luck survive, and I don't feel myself getting better. I think I'm getting old, Simon.
Right.
I'm getting too old for these games a little bit. My reactions are slowing down. So it's beautiful. I'm sure I'll get my value for money out of it, and it doesn't leave me feeling sad, except for sad that I can't enjoy it as much as I think I should. So 7 out of 10. Just as an update, I was a little worried after last week's review of Peggle 2. I was a little worried I'd been a bit harsh on it, so I went back to it this week. I had not been harsh enough. That game is cold and dead inside. It's a chore and boring, and nothing sums it up more than when you load it up to play it again. The option it highlights on the screen is not start new game or continue or whatever, but shop. Like, that's the default thing on the menu system. That upset me, and I'm super sad for Peggle. I'm not sad for Geometry Wars 7 out of 10.
I have been playing Bang Man this week. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Bang Man?
I don't know if you've heard of it. It's
one of those indie games.
Yeah, it's an indie game.
It's not by Bithell, is it?
No, it's not. New dev, not sure.
Another up-and-coming dev.
Not sure who they are.
They're calling him the new Bithell.
Yeah. No, I've not got a joke there. Yeah, so it's out on iOS, apparently out on Android as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard. It's really hard. I'll tell you something. If the developer were here, I would shake my fist at them and say, why did you make a game that was so hard and frustrating but very satisfying? So in it you are on a platform, you're a little blocky person, and then other baddie blocky people jump down. You have to jump over them, get a box, a crate which falls from the sky also, get a gun. The box will have a number on it. That tells you how much the recoil is. Stephen, put your phone down.
Just play Bang Man. It's addictive. All the kids are doing it.
It is addictive, isn't it? And then you recoil that much back when you've shot the bad man. Then another one comes back down, and then you have to get another gun and shoot them. And then but you might fall off the platform. And if you fall off the platform, dead. If you hit one of the bad men, you don't jump over them, dead. It's mad. So I spent much. So it's one of those ones where you'll die a lot, but your score is just kept on. Your high score is just kept on the screen. So I spent much of the afternoon messaging my boyfriend, going, "I got 15. I got 16. Ah!" He's up to 30. I'm only on 17.
I've got 39.
71.
Yeah,
71. Right, you're not on the leaderboard, are you?
What have you got, Catharina?
7 out of 10.
Well, I don't really have time to play that many longer games.
That's all right. It takes a few seconds.
Yeah, but the last game I played was Amphora.
Amphora?
It is also a Norwegian game, and it's a really stunning puzzle game.
Okay.
2D game. It's out on Steam, and you play as an amphora, kind of the jar thing, and you're just kind of the spirit that's inside it, which follows a girl throughout her kind of story, and you're just supposed to help her. But you get these really beautiful images, and you just kind of need to take your time and look at the scenery and look at what's happening and try to figure out what you can do to help. So, in the beginning, she's just a little kid, and you need to kind of help her get a bunny over to pet her. But then it kind of goes over into this really interesting, and then after a while, dark story. And it's just set up in such a nice ambient way that. It feels really great. It's I'm really bad at puzzle games, so I got a bit pissed off at times. But yeah, I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Seems fair.
Seems fair.
There we go.
We have some any other business. We've only got 30 seconds to do it in. Simon, we have to make a game this season.
We do, as part of Residence's fundraising.
I've got an idea.
Yes.
The idea is that each week we add something to the game. So I think we need to start with a viewpoint. We need to start with something on the screen. What should we start with, do you think? Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, a square.
A square, single square that we can move around. Is there gravity? Is it side-on?
Yes.
It is side-on?
Yes.
Do you think one square or more than one square? Because it's
Three squares.
Three squares. Three squares. We'll do that for next week. We'll get someone to add something. We'll also ask Catharina off air. Thank you so much for being on the show.
It was great, thank you.
Was it great?
Really,
there'll be repercussions.
I think this has helped Anglo-Norwegian relations no end.
Thanks to you guys as well. Thanks to Simon. Until next week, see you.
See you. Bye.